Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts? Does the weight of your emotions sometimes feel too much to bear? What if we told you that there's a way to clear the mind and find peace, no matter how chaotic life may seem? What if we said that the answer to peace lies within you, and that age-old wisdom can guide you to a better mental space? Imagine a life where negativity no longer controls your thoughts, a life where peace is not something you chase, but something you create. Does it sound impossible? It's not. It's about changing the way you think, shifting your perspective, and adopting a new mindset. And today, we're going to take you through some transformative steps that can help remove negativity from your mind. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we delve deep into life-changing wisdom, especially through the lens of Buddhism. In this video, we'll explore timeless teachings that will show you how to find inner peace, how to be mindful, and how to let go of negative emotions. But before we dive in, don't forget, there are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you're taking the first step toward a positive transformation in your life. In this video, we will uncover simple yet profound ways to transform your mindset, letting go of the negativity that holds you back. Buddhism offers valuable insights on how to live with a clear, peaceful mind, and we will guide you through practical steps to apply this wisdom in your everyday life. So stay with us as we embark on this journey together. If you're ready to make a change, then you've come to the right place. It all begins with understanding and practicing the powerful teachings of Buddhism. So, let's get started and discover how to clear your mind and fill it with peace. Stay tuned for more in-depth insights, and remember, the journey to a peaceful, positive life starts right now. Understanding the root of negativity. As a Zen master, I often see the same question in the minds of many people who come to me. Why do we feel negative? Why is it so hard to escape the grip of negative thoughts and emotions? The truth is that negativity is not something that simply exists outside of us. It is born within us. But where does it come from? Why do we let it take control? Let us begin by understanding the root cause of negativity. In Buddhism, we understand that negativity often arises from our attachments and desires. These attachments can take many forms. Some are attached to material things, money, possessions, or status. Others are attached to emotions, fear, anger, or even sorrow. What happens when we cling to these desires or emotions? We build expectations, and when these expectations are not met, we feel hurt, frustrated, and disappointed. This leads to the cycle of negativity. The root of negativity is also deeply connected to our fears. We fear loss, we fear change, and we fear the unknown. These fears grow within us, making us anxious and creating space for negative thoughts to flourish. But this fear is often exaggerated. It is not the reality of life itself that causes suffering, but our attachment to how we think things should be. And this is where we can begin to understand that the true source of negativity lies not in the world outside, but in our minds. Now, let's take a deeper look at this. Imagine you are walking through a forest. The forest is vast, filled with trees, birds, and animals. But suddenly, a small thorn pricks your foot. The pain is sharp and sudden, but you can choose how to respond. You can feel the pain and react with frustration, anger, or fear, thinking about how unfair it is. Or you can acknowledge the pain, accept it, and let it pass. This is how negativity works. It begins as a small event, a minor irritation, a bad experience, or an unwanted thought. But when we react to it with resistance, when we give it more attention, we fuel it. The more we feed the thought, the stronger it becomes. It's as if we're nurturing the thorn in our mind. The pain doesn't go away because we refuse to let it go. Buddhism teaches us that this attachment to thoughts and emotions is what keeps us in the cycle of suffering. We call this cycle samsara, the endless wheel of birth, death, and rebirth. It's not just about life and death. It's about the mental patterns that trap us in suffering. When we are attached to things, whether physical or emotional, we suffer when those things change or are lost. The Buddha, in his teachings, identified what he called the three poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. These three poisons are the root causes of all negative emotions. Greed arises from our desires and cravings, Hatred comes from our aversions and anger, and delusion is our ignorance of the true nature of reality. These poisons create a distorted view of the world, one where we think we need things to be a certain way to be happy. But this is not the truth. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a glass of water. The glass is full of clear water, but there are dirt particles floating in it. If you keep shaking the glass, the dirt will stay suspended in the water, making it cloudy. But if you allow the glass to sit still for a moment, the dirt will settle to the bottom. The water becomes clear once again. Our minds are similar to this glass of water. When we are constantly shaking them with desire, fear, anger, and attachment, our thoughts become clouded. But when we practice stillness, when we stop reacting to every thought and emotion, the mind can settle, and the negativity will fade away. The teachings of Buddhism offer us a way to calm this inner turbulence. Through mindfulness, meditation, in the practice of letting go, we can begin to clear our minds of the clutter that creates negativity. It is not about suppressing our feelings or denying them. It's about observing them without attachment, without judgment. We must learn to simply let them pass, like clouds in the sky. One important teaching from Buddhism is the concept of anatta, or non-self. This teaching reminds us that our sense of self, the identity we attach to our thoughts, emotions, and experiences, is an illusion. When we identify with our thoughts, we believe them to be who we are. But in reality, we are not our thoughts. We are the awareness that observes them. When we start to see this, we can distance ourselves from the negativity that arises in our minds. We no longer need to react to it. We can simply let it pass without it affecting our peace of mind. Negativity also arises from our deep-seated belief in the permanence of things. We think that everything we experience should last forever, that people, situations, or even emotions should not change. This belief causes suffering because nothing in life is permanent. Everything is constantly changing, and this impermanence is a fundamental truth of life. The Buddha taught us to accept impermanence, to embrace the fact that nothing lasts forever, and to understand that this is the nature of all things. When we accept impermanence, we stop holding on to things, and this release is the key to freeing ourselves from negativity. Let's take a moment to reflect on a simple, everyday situation. Have you ever been angry at someone? Perhaps someone cut you off in traffic, or maybe someone said something that upset you. When we hold on to that anger, we suffer. We replay the event over and over in our minds, and we stay angry. But what happens when we let go of that anger? When we realize that the moment has passed, and that the other person's actions do not define our happiness, the anger fades away, and we feel lighter. This is the power of letting go, the power of releasing the negative thoughts and emotions that weigh us down. By practicing mindfulness and awareness, we can begin to notice when negativity arises, and we can choose not to fuel it. Instead of attaching ourselves to every passing thought, we let them come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. To truly understand the root of negativity, we must look within. It is not about blaming the world or other people for our suffering. It is about recognizing that we have the power to transform our own minds. We are the creators of our own mental state. The moment we realize this, we take back control. The Buddhist teachings show us that the way to remove negativity is not to resist it, but to understand it. We must learn to sit with our emotions, observe them, and let them pass. We must stop identifying with them and realize that they do not define who we are. We must stop chasing after things and realize that true peace comes from within. By understanding the root of negativity, we are taking the first step toward freedom. We are learning to release the chains that bind us to our emotions and attachments. We are learning to see the world and ourselves in a new light, one that is free from suffering and filled with peace. The Buddhist philosophy of impermanence. In life, everything is constantly changing, from the seasons that shift, to the way we feel each day, to the people who come and go in our lives. Change is inevitable. But do we truly understand the depth of this? We often try to hold on to things, people, and situations, not realizing that their temporary nature is what gives them meaning. The Buddhist philosophy of impermanence teaches us that nothing in life is permanent, and it is this understanding that holds the key to removing negativity from our minds. At first, the concept of impermanence can seem unsettling. We might feel anxious about change or fear that we are losing control. But the truth is, once we embrace impermanence, we free ourselves from the pain of attachment. Buddha taught that all things, including our thoughts, emotions, and experiences, are in constant flux. This means that nothing, not even our most negative thoughts, can stay forever. Think about the times when you felt overwhelmed by negative thoughts. Maybe you've worried about the future or felt sadness and regret about the past. These emotions seem so real in the moment, don't they? It feels as if they define who we are. But what if we told you that those emotions are just like clouds in the sky? They come, they stay for a while, and then they pass. Nothing lasts forever, not even our most intense feelings. This is the heart of the Buddhist idea of impermanence. When we understand that everything is temporary, we start to let go of the need to control it all. We realize that it's okay to feel sad, anxious, or frustrated, because those feelings, too, will eventually pass. Instead of clinging to them or trying to push them away, we can simply observe them. Just like watching a cloud float across the sky, we learn to watch our emotions come and go without getting lost in them. Buddhism teaches us to develop a beginner's mind. This means approaching each moment with fresh eyes, free from judgment or preconceived notions. In every moment, we can practice recognizing that everything is fleeting, even the things we think are permanent. Our relationships, our successes, and our failures, they all change. And this knowledge allows us to live more peacefully, with a sense of detachment that is not about shutting ourselves off from the world, but rather about not being enslaved by it. You might be wondering, how does this help remove negativity from the mind? It's simple. When we accept that everything is impermanent, we stop giving power to our negative thoughts. Negative feelings are like waves in the ocean. They rise up, but eventually, they crash and fade. If we resist them or try to hold on to them, we only intensify their presence. But if we accept their temporary nature, they lose their grip on us. This doesn't mean we become passive or indifferent to life's challenges. On the contrary, we become more engaged with life because we no longer live in constant fear of change. When we embrace impermanence, we learn to live in the present moment, the only moment that truly exists. We stop dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. We begin to appreciate the fleeting nature of each moment, knowing that it will never come again. This realization is liberating. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you're going through a tough time. Perhaps you're facing a difficult situation at work or experiencing a personal loss. It's easy to get caught up in negative thoughts, believing that this hardship will last forever. But when we remind ourselves that everything is impermanent, we can start to ease the suffering. We tell ourselves, this too shall pass. We may not know when, but we understand that nothing in life stays the same. Even the hardest times are temporary. Think about the Buddha's own life. He faced many trials, including his own suffering and the loss of loved ones. Yet, he embraced the truth of impermanence. He understood that all suffering is a part of life, but it too will eventually end. And by accepting this truth, he found inner peace. One powerful meditation practice in Buddhism is to sit quietly and focus on the breath. As you breathe in and out, you can reflect on the transient nature of everything. Each breath is a reminder of impermanence. The breath itself is temporary. It comes in, it goes out. The air we breathe is ever-changing, and so are our thoughts. By meditating on this truth, we learn to accept the flow of life as it is, without resistance. When we begin to see life through the lens of impermanence, we naturally develop more compassion for ourselves and others. We understand that everyone is going through their own struggles, and that their suffering, too, is temporary. We stop judging others for their actions or behaviors, knowing that they, too, are just passing through moments of change. Compassion grows because we see ourselves in others. We realize that we're all in this together, experiencing the impermanent nature of life. Let's also talk about attachments, one of the biggest sources of negativity in our lives. We often attach ourselves to people, material things, and even ideas. We believe that these attachments will bring us happiness and security. But the more we attach, the more we suffer. Why? Because everything is temporary. People change, things break, and circumstances shift. When we hold on too tightly, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we let go of attachments, we find freedom. We can still love, still work hard, still enjoy life, but without the heavy burden of clinging to things that will inevitably change. We become more adaptable, more open to the flow of life. The more we practice non-attachment, the more peace we find. The Buddha once said, "Attachment is the root of suffering." This statement holds so much truth. By understanding impermanence, we can detach from the need to control every outcome. We allow ourselves to experience life fully without the fear of losing what we hold dear. The moment we stop holding on so tightly is the moment we begin to experience true peace. This concept of impermanence also helps us manage expectations. Often, we become frustrated when things don't go as planned or when outcomes don't match our desires. But when we embrace the truth that life is constantly changing, we learn to be more flexible in our expectations. We stop forcing things to stay the same, and instead, we flow with the natural rhythm of life. In the end, the Buddhist philosophy of impermanence teaches us to live with less attachment, more acceptance, and a deeper appreciation for the present moment. When we stop clinging to what we can't control and accept the impermanence of all things, negativity loses its power over us. The mind becomes clearer, lighter, and free to experience peace. As you continue on your journey, remember that impermanence is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Every moment of happiness, every challenge, and every person in your life is part of a beautiful, ever-changing tapestry. And as you let go of the need to control and simply flow with life's changes, you will find yourself living more peacefully, free from the weight of negativity. Practicing mindfulness to dissolve negativity. In the fast-paced world we live in today, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by our thoughts, emotions, and the endless distractions that pull us in every direction. Our minds race from one thought to another, and sometimes we don't even notice how these thoughts are shaping our moods and attitudes. But there is a way to break free from this mental chaos, and that way is mindfulness. Mindfulness is a practice that comes from Buddhism, and it is one of the most powerful tools you can use to clear negativity from your mind. It's all about being present, really present, in the moment, without judgment or distraction. When we practice mindfulness, we focus all our attention on what's happening right now, rather than letting our minds wander into the past or future, or become caught up in negative thinking. Imagine you're sitting in a quiet place, and you just focus on your breathing. You breathe in deeply, and then breathe out slowly. You notice the rise and fall of your chest, the cool air entering your nose, the warmth as it leaves your body. This simple act of paying attention to your breath is mindfulness in action. It's about being fully present in that moment, without judgment or attachment. The moment you catch your mind drifting, you gently bring it back to your breath, and that's it. No criticism, no frustration. Just acceptance of where your mind is and kindness towards yourself for bringing it back. When we practice mindfulness, we start to notice our thoughts more clearly. Instead of being swept away by them, we can observe them from a distance. We may begin to recognize that many of our negative thoughts are not permanent truths. They are just passing mental events, and we don't have to let them define us. This awareness is the first step in dissolving negativity. But mindfulness is not just about breathing or sitting quietly. It's a way of living. You can practice mindfulness while walking, eating, or even during conversations. The goal is to fully engage with whatever you're doing without rushing or allowing your mind to wander. When you're walking, notice how your feet feel as they touch the ground. When you're eating, really taste your food. When you're talking to someone, give them your full attention, listening to their words without thinking about what you're going to say next. This might sound simple, but it's not always easy. Our minds are so used to jumping from one thought to another, and it can feel challenging to stay focused on the present. But with practice, it becomes easier. And when you practice mindfulness consistently, you'll start to notice a shift in your mind. You'll begin to experience less stress, less anxiety, and less negativity. You'll feel more grounded, more centered, and more at peace with yourself and the world around you. Mindfulness helps you to see things as they are, not as you fear them to be. Often, negativity comes from how we interpret the world. We might worry about the future, regret the past, or create stories in our heads that only fuel our anxiety. Mindfulness helps us to see that our fears are often just thoughts, and that the present moment is not as frightening as we think. In fact, the present moment is all we truly have. And when we stop fighting it, we can begin to experience true peace. This practice of mindfulness also has a strong connection to letting go. When we practice mindfulness, we observe our thoughts and feelings without becoming attached to them. We begin to understand that our thoughts do not define us. They come and go like clouds in the sky. The more we practice mindfulness, the easier it becomes to let go of those negative thoughts and simply allow them to pass. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called anicca, which means impermanence. This teaching reminds us that everything, our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, is constantly changing. Nothing lasts forever, and that includes negativity. When we hold on to negative thoughts, we are holding on to something that is already passing. But when we practice mindfulness, we allow these thoughts to come and go freely without clinging to them. We accept that all things are temporary, and this acceptance helps us release the negativity that weighs us down. One of the most powerful aspects of mindfulness is that it allows us to see the interconnectedness of all things. When we are mindful, we begin to understand that our thoughts and actions have an impact on the world around us. We start to realize that negativity not only affects us, but also those we interact with. By practicing mindfulness, we can create a ripple effect of positive energy, influencing others in a peaceful and uplifting way. Mindfulness also helps us cultivate a sense of gratitude. When we are present in the moment, we begin to appreciate the small things that we often overlook. We start to notice the beauty in nature, the kindness of others, and the simple joys of everyday life. This sense of gratitude naturally shifts our focus away from negativity and toward the positive aspects of our existence. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we train our minds to focus on what really matters. We start to become less reactive to external circumstances and more centered in our own peace. This inner calm gives us the strength to face challenges with a clear mind, without being overwhelmed by negative emotions. But mindfulness doesn't just dissolve negativity. It also helps us cultivate positive qualities like compassion, patience, and understanding. When we are mindful, we become more attuned to the needs and feelings of others. We listen more deeply, speak more kindly, and act with greater empathy. These positive actions further reinforce our inner peace and help create a more harmonious world around us. In the practice of mindfulness, there is no rush. There's no need to strive for perfection. It's about showing up for yourself, moment by moment, and simply being present. Even when your mind wanders, it's okay. Each time you bring it back to the present, you're making progress. Mindfulness is a lifelong practice, and every small step counts. By incorporating mindfulness into our daily lives, we can begin to transform our relationship with our thoughts and emotions. We can learn to respond to life's challenges with clarity, rather than react out of fear or frustration. As we cultivate mindfulness, we also cultivate a deep sense of peace within ourselves. And that peace, over time, will begin to dissolve the negativity that once held us back. We will find ourselves more grounded, more content, and more in tune with the world around us. So, take a moment today to breathe, to be present, and to embrace the power of mindfulness. It's a simple yet profound practice that has the potential to change your life, one breath at a time. Embracing compassion and loving kindness. In the quest for peace and tranquility, one of the most profound teachings that Buddhism offers is the power of compassion and loving kindness. These qualities may sound simple, but they are far more powerful than we often realize. When we choose to embrace compassion, not just for others, but also for ourselves, we open the door to immense healing and inner peace. Compassion, at its core, means to feel for another's suffering and to wish them well. It's not about pity or feeling sorry for someone. It's about understanding their pain and offering kindness in whatever way we can. It's the ability to be there for someone, emotionally and mentally, without judgment. Now, let's pause and reflect. How many times have you criticized yourself for making mistakes, or felt irritated by the struggles of others? What if, instead of judgment, you offered understanding, empathy, and compassion? This is where real transformation begins. Imagine you are in a difficult situation, feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. What if, instead of reacting with anger or despair, you paused and asked yourself, how can I approach this with kindness? Compassion doesn't mean letting others walk all over you, or being passive. It means responding with empathy, not anger, with understanding, not frustration. It means responding to the world with a heart open to healing rather than reacting from a place of defensiveness. Loving kindness, or metta as it's called in Buddhism, takes this a step further. Loving kindness is the active wish for the well-being of others. It's the mindset that says, I want you to be happy. I want you to be free from suffering. And while this sounds wonderful when directed at others, the challenge lies in extending this same love and kindness to ourselves. How often do we criticize or judge ourselves harshly? How often do we forget to be kind to our own hearts? Buddhism teaches us that compassion and loving kindness are not just about how we treat others. They're about how we treat ourselves. If we cannot show kindness to our own hearts, how can we show it to the world around us? In every moment, we have the opportunity to shift our inner dialogue and show ourselves the same compassion we offer to others. One powerful practice that Buddhism encourages is called metta bhavana, or the cultivation of loving kindness. It's a meditation practice where we sit in silence and direct loving kindness to ourselves, then extend it to others, both near and far. Here's how it works. Start with yourself. Begin by quietly sitting, taking a few deep breaths to center yourself. Think of yourself as you are right now. Say to yourself silently, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be at peace. Repeat these phrases with full sincerity, letting the words sink into your heart. Feel the warmth and love growing inside you. Extend to loved ones. Once you've centered yourself with self-compassion, begin to extend those feelings toward others. Picture a loved one, someone who brings you joy and comfort, and silently say to them, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at peace. Feel the warmth of these wishes as they radiate from your heart. Expand to neutral people. Next, direct the same wishes to people you don't know as well, acquaintances, strangers, or even people you feel neutral about. It's easy to love those close to us, but true compassion extends to all beings, regardless of their relationship to us. Finally, extend to difficult people. This part of the practice can be the hardest, but it is also the most transformative. Picture someone who has hurt you, angered you, or caused you pain. Now, instead of holding on to resentment, offer them loving kindness. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at peace. This doesn't mean you approve of their actions. It means you are freeing yourself from the burden of negativity by releasing judgment and choosing compassion. When we practice loving kindness in this way, we slowly dissolve the walls of anger, bitterness, and resentment. Instead, we open our hearts and minds to a more peaceful, compassionate way of being. This practice, if done regularly, has the power to change the way we view the world and ourselves. We stop seeing the world through a lens of criticism and start seeing it through a lens of love. Compassion is not always easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things to practice, especially in difficult circumstances. But when we remember that everyone, including ourselves, is going through their own struggles, it becomes easier to respond with understanding. It helps us remember that we're all human, doing the best we can in a world that often feels unpredictable and chaotic. In Buddhism, there's a powerful teaching known as the Four Noble Truths, which explains that suffering is an inevitable part of life. But here's the key. Through compassion, both for ourselves and others, we can ease suffering. The Buddha didn't just teach us about the nature of suffering. He also taught us the way to overcome it. And the path to that freedom lies in compassion. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves is the gift of kindness. The world can be harsh, and life can be difficult, but we don't have to face it alone. We can carry compassion with us, offering it to ourselves in moments of doubt, and extending it to others in moments of challenge. When we live with compassion, we find that the negativity in our minds begins to soften. We begin to see the world as a place where kindness is possible, where peace is possible. The beautiful thing about compassion is that it's not a finite resource. The more we give, the more we have. Every act of kindness creates a ripple effect, spreading warmth and peace to everyone it touches. And just like a small pebble thrown into a still pond creates ripples that extend far beyond the point of impact, your compassion can create change in the world around you in ways you may never fully see. So, if you are struggling with negativity in your mind, try shifting your focus to compassion. Start by being kind to yourself. It may be hard at first, but over time, you'll begin to see the shift. You'll notice that your mind feels lighter, more peaceful, and more at ease. You'll notice that your relationships with others become warmer and more harmonious. And most importantly, you'll discover that embracing compassion and loving kindness is not just a way to improve your own life. It's a way to change the world. The role of meditation in clearing the mind. Imagine you're standing in front of a clear lake, the water perfectly still. You can see the sky's reflection, the trees around the lake, and everything feels peaceful. But what happens when a stone is thrown into the water? The surface becomes disturbed, ripples spread out, and the once calm lake is now chaotic. This is exactly what happens in our minds when we let negative thoughts and emotions take over. Our minds, like that lake, are constantly affected by what happens around us. Stress, worries, fear, and anger are like stones thrown into the calm water. These thoughts disturb the peace within us, creating ripples of negativity. But just like we can still the water of the lake, we can still our minds. How? The answer lies in meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool used in Buddhism to clear the mind and restore inner peace. It's not just about sitting quietly. It's about learning how to be present, how to let go of unnecessary thoughts, and how to cultivate a deep sense of awareness. Through meditation, you can calm the mind, release stress, and rid yourself of the negativity that clouds your thoughts. At its core, meditation helps us become more mindful. When you meditate, you learn to focus on the present moment. Instead of being pulled into the past or future, you bring your attention to what is happening right now. This practice teaches you to observe your thoughts without judgment, letting them come and go like clouds passing through the sky. This is one of the most important lessons in Buddhism. To detach from the thoughts that come and go in your mind, without holding on to them or letting them control you. Now, let's break down how meditation works in clearing negativity. 1. Awareness of the present moment. When you meditate, you begin by focusing on your breath, your body, or even a simple mantra. This simple act of focusing on one thing helps quiet the chatter of the mind. In the stillness of your focus, you start to become more aware of what's happening in your mind. You realize that most of your thoughts are just fleeting images or worries that don't serve you. As you observe these thoughts, you start to let them pass without holding on to them. For example, if a thought like, "I'm not good enough," arises, instead of identifying with it, you simply notice it. You say to yourself, "This is just a thought, not a truth." By observing the thought without judgment, you can release its hold over you. 2. Letting go of negative thoughts. In the process of meditation, you'll start to notice that negative thoughts pop up. These might be thoughts of fear, regret, anger, or frustration. But with practice, you'll learn how to let go of them. Buddhism teaches us that these negative thoughts are like clouds. They come and go. They are temporary and don't define who we are. Through meditation, you train yourself to see these thoughts for what they are. Fleeting moments in time that have no power over you unless you choose to hold on to them. When you meditate regularly, you begin to cultivate a sense of distance from these thoughts. You don't let them overwhelm you or take control of your emotions. Instead of reacting emotionally to a situation, you learn to respond calmly, from a place of understanding and peace. 3. Cultivating compassion and loving kindness. Meditation also helps you cultivate positive emotions like compassion and loving kindness. These are key principles in Buddhism that can help you transform negative emotions into positive ones. Compassion involves understanding the suffering of others and wishing for their happiness. Loving kindness is about wishing all beings well, including yourself. Through meditation, you can develop these qualities. When you sit in silence, focusing on your breath, you can silently send wishes of peace and love to yourself and others. This practice of loving kindness meditation helps you let go of anger, resentment, and fear. Instead, you begin to radiate kindness and compassion, not just toward others, but also toward yourself. 4. Mindful breathing, a simple tool for clearing the mind. One of the simplest forms of meditation is mindful breathing. This is where you focus on your breath, noticing the sensation of it entering and leaving your body. When you focus on your breath, you create a space between your thoughts. This space allows you to simply be, without the constant stream of negativity taking over. Breathing in deeply and slowly can have a calming effect on both your body and mind. It helps to reduce stress, lower your heart rate, and clear your mind of any unnecessary clutter. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, just take a few moments to focus on your breath, and you'll quickly notice how your body relaxes and your mind becomes clearer. 5. Meditation and emotional release. Often, when negative emotions build up inside us, they create tension. We may feel anxious, angry, or sad, but we may not know how to release these emotions in a healthy way. Meditation helps us create space for emotional release. As you meditate, you may find that certain emotions arise, perhaps old wounds or unresolved feelings from the past. This is a natural part of the process. By sitting with these emotions instead of suppressing them, you allow them to flow through you. Buddhism teaches that all emotions, even negative ones, are temporary. They arise and pass away, just like the weather. By allowing yourself to feel and release these emotions, you create a sense of inner freedom. You no longer feel trapped by your negative emotions, but instead, you learn how to process them in a healthy and mindful way. 6. The power of consistency in meditation. It's important to understand that meditation is not a one-time fix. It's a practice, something that you do consistently, day after day. Just like any other skill, meditation requires patience and dedication. The more you practice, the more you'll experience its transformative effects. Over time, you'll notice that your mind becomes clearer, your reactions become more measured, and your emotions become more balanced. Start with just a few minutes each day. Even 5 to 10 minutes of meditation can have a significant impact. As you continue, you'll find that the negative thoughts that once seemed so overwhelming begin to lose their power. You'll develop a greater sense of peace, no matter what is happening around you. 7. Meditation as a path to enlightenment. In Buddhism, meditation is not just about calming the mind. It's a path to enlightenment. Through deep meditation, you begin to uncover the true nature of reality. You come to understand that suffering is a natural part of life, but that it doesn't have to define you. You realize that you have the power to let go of attachments, to release the need for control, and to find peace in the present moment. The more you meditate, the more you awaken to the truth of who you really are. You begin to see that your mind is not your enemy, it is your greatest ally. By learning to quiet your mind, you unlock the potential to live with more clarity, purpose, and joy. Conclusion: meditation as a tool for daily life. Meditation is a simple yet powerful tool that can help clear your mind and remove negativity. It allows you to be present, to let go of unnecessary thoughts, and to cultivate positive emotions. By practicing meditation regularly, you'll develop a peaceful mind, and you'll learn how to navigate life with greater ease and clarity. Remember, meditation is not about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you sit down to meditate, you're taking a step toward inner peace. So, make meditation a part of your daily life, and you'll begin to see the transformation unfold, not only in your mind but in every aspect of your life. Letting go. The power of detachment. In life, we often find ourselves holding on to things that weigh us down. Thoughts, memories, desires, grudges, and expectations. These attachments can cloud our minds, create unnecessary stress, and prevent us from experiencing true peace. But what if I told you that freedom comes when you let go? The concept of letting go, or detachment, is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism. It's about releasing the things that no longer serve us, and understanding that true happiness doesn't come from external possessions or attachments. Instead, it arises from within, when we learn to live in the present moment, free from the past and the future. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on life, or abandoning your responsibilities. It means releasing your emotional attachment to things, people, or outcomes that cause you suffering. It means not clinging to the past or fearing the future. When we let go, we make space for new experiences, new opportunities, in the natural flow of life. Think of it like holding a glass of water. If you grip the glass too tightly, your hand starts to hurt, doesn't it? The tighter you hold on, the more strain you feel. But when you loosen your grip, the tension releases, and your hand is free. The same applies to our thoughts and emotions. The more tightly we cling to negative thoughts or painful experiences, the more we suffer. Letting go is like opening your hand, allowing peace to flow in. The Buddha taught that attachment leads to suffering. This suffering doesn't only arise from physical things, but also from our emotional and mental attachments. For example, we may hold on to resentment after a disagreement, or we may constantly worry about things that might happen in the future. These attachments don't just keep us in a state of unease, they actively cause our unhappiness. A powerful teaching in Buddhism is the concept of anatta, or the doctrine of no self. This concept reminds us that everything in life is impermanent, and so are we. We are constantly changing, evolving, and flowing through life stages. When we try to cling to an idea of ourselves, or to the past, we are resisting the natural flow of life. To find peace, we must learn to accept the ebb and flow, understanding that nothing is permanent. Not our thoughts, not our feelings, and certainly not the things we possess. Letting go can also be seen in our relationships. How many times have we held onto a relationship long after it has ceased to bring us joy or growth? Maybe we've kept friends who no longer align with our values, or stayed in relationships that have turned toxic, all because we feared the loss or the void it might create. But true peace comes when we are willing to release those connections that no longer nurture our well-being. This doesn't mean abandoning people without care or respect. It means acknowledging that we must let go for the sake of our own peace. In Buddhism, there's a story about a monk who was crossing a river. He came across a woman who needed help getting across, and without hesitation, the monk carried her. Once they crossed the river, the monk set her down and continued his journey. One of his fellow monks, upon hearing this, was shocked and asked why the monk had carried the woman, since monks are supposed to remain detached from worldly desires and attachments. The monk replied, "I carried her across the river, but I have already let her go. Why are you still carrying her?" This story teaches us that attachment is not just about holding on to physical things, but also about mental and emotional burdens. Letting go isn't about forgetting or being indifferent. It's about no longer carrying unnecessary weight that hinders our peace. Detachment doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop clinging. We can love and care for people, but without tying our happiness to their actions or presence. We can pursue our goals, but without getting attached to the outcome. Life will unfold in its own way, and when we learn to let go, we are free to enjoy it without the anxiety of controlling every detail. One of the simplest ways to practice letting go is through mindfulness. When we are mindful, we observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. We become aware of when we are clinging to something, whether it's an old grudge, a fear of the future, or a longing for something unattainable. The moment we notice this attachment, we can gently release it, returning to the present moment. We don't have to push away or fight against our emotions. Instead, we simply let them pass through, knowing that they are temporary. Another aspect of detachment is the understanding that not everything is in our control. Life has its ups and downs, its joys and challenges, but the way we respond is what shapes our experience. If we constantly try to control everything around us, we will always be stressed and anxious. Letting go of the need for control allows us to surrender to life's flow, and to respond with calm and wisdom rather than reacting with fear or resistance. Detachment also involves letting go of unrealistic expectations. Many of us carry around mental pictures of how things should be, how we should behave, how others should behave, or how life should unfold. But these expectations often lead to disappointment when reality doesn't match our fantasies. By releasing these expectations, we open ourselves to life as it is, and in doing so, we find more peace and contentment. Buddhism teaches us that suffering is not caused by the world itself, but by our attachment to it. When we stop attaching ourselves to things, we are no longer at the mercy of life's inevitable changes. We begin to live more fully, in harmony with the present moment, and with a deep sense of inner peace. The practice of detachment is not an escape from life. It's an invitation to fully experience life without being burdened by it. Letting go is a lifelong practice. It doesn't happen overnight, and it isn't always easy. But with each step, we find ourselves lighter, freer, and more at peace. Remember, detachment is not about becoming indifferent or apathetic. It's about understanding that true happiness comes not from what we hold on to, but from what we are willing to release. As you continue this journey, know that each moment is an opportunity to let go and to experience the freedom that comes with it. So, take a deep breath, relax your grip, and allow yourself to release the mental, emotional, and physical attachments that are weighing you down. Let go, and make space for peace to fill your life. Karma and its role in shaping mindset. In Buddhism, one of the most powerful ideas is karma. But what exactly is karma? Many people think of it as some form of cosmic justice, where good deeds are rewarded and bad deeds are punished. However, karma is much deeper than that. It's not about punishment or reward. It's about cause and effect, the natural law that every action you take, every word you speak, and even every thought you think has a consequence. Karma is the energy we create, and just like a seed planted in the ground, it will grow and bear fruit. But here's the important part. You are the gardener of your own life. The seeds you plant today will determine the experiences you have tomorrow. If you plant seeds of kindness, compassion, and positivity, you will see those qualities reflected in your life. But if you sow negativity, anger, and hatred, that's the kind of energy you will attract. Imagine you're going through a tough time. People might treat you unfairly, or life might throw challenges your way. It's easy to fall into a mindset of frustration or resentment. You might feel that you're being punished for something you didn't deserve. But if we think about karma, we start to understand that what we're facing is a result of the actions we've taken, not just in this life, but perhaps in previous lives too. This doesn't mean we're trapped by our past. Karma is not a life sentence. It's more like a pattern. And just like any pattern, it can be changed. The beauty of karma is that you have the power to change your future. If you're suffering now, it might be because of your past actions, but you can start to change the way you act today, and that will shape your tomorrow. Karma is not about being stuck in a cycle. It's about breaking free from it. When we understand karma, it changes the way we see our actions. It makes us realize that we're not just living for today. Our actions today ripple out into the future. Every time you smile at someone, every time you act with patience instead of anger, every time you help someone in need, you're building good karma. But it's also true that when we act out of hatred, greed, or selfishness, we are creating negative karma, which can hold us back. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you're having a bad day at work. You feel stressed, and it's easy to snap at people. You might raise your voice, or even speak harshly to a colleague. This can create negative karma, not only because of your words, but also because of the intention behind them. If you are acting out of frustration, that's the energy you're putting into the world. And guess what? That's the same energy you'll attract. However, you can break this pattern. The next time you feel upset, take a deep breath. Pause before you react. Respond with patience. If you can shift your response in that moment, you are planting a seed of positive karma. Even if others around you are negative, you have the choice to act differently. In doing so, you change the energy in your environment. And that change begins with you. Now, karma is not only about actions. It's also about your thoughts and intentions. This is an important point because many people don't realize that their thoughts shape their karma just as much as their actions. If you spend your day thinking about how unfair life is, or how angry you are with others, you're sowing seeds of negativity. Those thoughts create a vibration in your mind that influences your reality. On the other hand, when you think thoughts of compassion, understanding, and patience, you are building good karma. Karma isn't just about big actions. It's in the small things. When you feel irritated, instead of holding on to that irritation, let it go. If someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry, send them a silent blessing. These small changes in how we respond to the world build positive karma over time. This understanding of karma can also help us in relationships. We all have disagreements, misunderstandings, and challenges with the people around us. But by applying the concept of karma, we realize that our interactions, even the smallest ones, are important. When we act with love and understanding, we are creating positive karma not only for ourselves but for the other person too. And even when things don't go as planned, if we approach situations with kindness and forgiveness, we can break the cycle of negativity. But karma doesn't just affect our interactions with others. It also affects how we treat ourselves. When we are harsh and critical of ourselves, when we are filled with self-doubt and guilt, we are creating negative karma. Remember, you are not separate from the world around you. The way you treat yourself is reflected in the way you treat others. If you are kind to yourself, you are more likely to be kind to others. If you forgive yourself for past mistakes, you are more likely to forgive others. Understanding karma also helps us realize that nothing is ever wasted. Every action, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect. Sometimes, you may not see the result of your actions immediately, and that can be frustrating. But trust that every positive action you take, every kind thought you have, is contributing to your growth. Sometimes, the results may not be visible right away, but trust that they will come. The universe works in mysterious ways, and the seeds you plant today will eventually bear fruit. At times, we may wonder why certain things happen to us. Why do we face challenges or difficult people? Why does it feel like things aren't going our way? This is where karma becomes important again. Often, the struggles we face are the result of our past actions. But instead of feeling defeated, we can see these challenges as opportunities to grow. Each difficulty we face is a chance to shift our karma, to change the way we respond, to act with more awareness, and to create positive change. So, the next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, remember that you have the power to change it. The energy you put into the world today is the energy you will receive tomorrow. Karma is not just about being good or bad. It's about being aware of the energy you are creating and understanding that every action, every thought, and every intention shapes the world around you. You have the power to change your future by changing your present. Karma is also about forgiveness. If you hold on to grudges or resentment, you are creating negative karma, not only for the other person but for yourself as well. Letting go of anger and resentment doesn't mean you're excusing someone else's behavior. It means you are freeing yourself from the burden of negative energy. When you forgive, you release the hold that negativity has over you. And in doing so, you create the space for positive energy to flow into your life. In Buddhism, we learn that the best way to remove negativity from your mind is to replace it with positive actions. When you consciously choose to act in a way that brings peace, love, and joy to others, you are planting the seeds for a positive future. This is the power of karma. And finally, remember that karma is not a way to judge others. It's not about pointing fingers or saying, they got what they deserved. It's about self-awareness. It's about looking inward and realizing that we control the energy we create. The next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me? How can I respond with kindness and understanding? How can I create positive karma from this moment? In this way, karma teaches us to take responsibility for our lives, our actions, and our mindset. By doing so, we become the architects of our own happiness and peace. Practical tips for daily mindset transformation. So you seek to transform your daily life, to replace negativity with clarity and peace. A noble path indeed. Change does not come through grand gestures, but through small, consistent steps. Let me share with you the essence of Buddhist wisdom, practical and powerful, that can guide you in reshaping your mind every single day. Let us begin where every day begins, the morning. Upon waking, take a moment to pause before rushing into your routine. Sit quietly on your bed or a nearby chair. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in peace, breathe out worry. This simple act aligns your mind with calmness, setting the tone for the day. Remember, the way you start your morning shapes the way you approach your entire day. Now, as you move through your morning tasks, try to do one thing mindfully. If you are brushing your teeth, feel the brush against your teeth, the taste of the toothpaste, the sound of the water. When you are mindful in the smallest of actions, you teach your mind to stay present and not wander into negativity. Throughout your day, there will be moments of tension. Perhaps a colleague says something sharp, or a loved one disappoints you. In such moments, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, pause. Count to 5 silently. This pause creates space, a space where your wisdom can arise. Ask yourself, is my reaction necessary? Will it bring peace? Often, you'll find that silence is the better response. Let me share a story to illustrate this. Once, a monk was insulted by a passerby. The monk smiled and said, if someone offers me a gift, and I do not take it, to whom does the gift belong? The passerby, confused, replied, it remains with the giver. The monk nodded and said, "Exactly. Your anger is yours to keep, for I do not accept it." This is a lesson for us all. We do not have to accept negativity from others. Another practice is gratitude. At the end of your day, take a moment to reflect. Write down 3 things you are grateful for, no matter how small. Perhaps it's the sunlight on your face, a warm meal, or a kind word from a stranger. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is wrong to what is right, rewiring your brain to see the good in life. In Buddhism, the idea of impermanence is a cornerstone. Understand that every situation, good or bad, is temporary. When you face a challenge, remind yourself, this too shall pass. When you experience joy, cherish it, knowing it is fleeting. This understanding helps you approach life with balance, neither clinging to the highs nor despairing in the lows. Meditation is another daily tool for transformation. You do not need hours. Just 10 minutes of sitting quietly, observing your breath, can work wonders. As thoughts arise, do not judge them. Let them come and go, like clouds passing in the sky. Over time, you will notice a space between your thoughts, a silence where negativity cannot thrive. Here's a practical tip for dealing with overwhelming emotions. Label them. When anger arises, say to yourself, "This is anger." When sadness appears, acknowledge, "This is sadness." By naming the emotion, you separate yourself from it. You are not your anger. You are the observer of it. Then what is observed can be managed. A simple but profound practice is to smile. Yes, even when you don't feel like it. The act of smiling, even a small one, sends signals to your brain that can lift your mood. Try it now. Smile softly and notice how your body responds. Let us not forget the importance of service. Helping others is one of the most powerful ways to transform your mindset. Volunteer your time, offer a kind word, or simply listen to someone who needs to be heard. When you focus on others, your own worries diminish. Another Buddhist practice is walking meditation. As you walk, be aware of each step. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the rhythm of your movement. Say silently, "I am here, I am now." This practice brings your mind to the present moment, away from regrets of the past or worries about the future. Avoid multitasking. When you eat, just eat. Taste your food, feel its texture, and appreciate the effort it took to prepare. When you work, focus fully on your task. Multitasking scatters your mind, while single-tasking brings clarity and efficiency. Remember, your environment matters. Surround yourself with positivity, books, people, and spaces that uplift you. Declutter your living space. A tidy home reflects a tidy mind. Lastly, be gentle with yourself. Transformation is a journey, not a destination. There will be days when negativity wins. Do not scold yourself. Instead, observe what went wrong, learn from it, and try again tomorrow. Growth is not about perfection but persistence. In these practices, you will find the tools to reshape your daily life. The journey may seem slow, but as the Buddha said, a jug fills drop by drop. Every small effort you make contributes to a greater transformation. Let these steps be your drops, filling the jug of your peace and clarity, one day at a time. Conclusion: a journey to a positive mindset. And here we are, at the final step of this transformative journey. We've covered so much, haven't we? From understanding the root causes of negativity to embracing powerful Buddhist practices, every lesson, every step was designed to guide you toward a peaceful mind and a positive life. But now, the real question is, what will you do with all that you've learned? You see, the path to a positive mindset is not about quick fixes or instant results. It's about dedication, patience, and continuous effort. The teachings of Buddhism don't promise to change your life overnight, but they do offer a way to transform the way you experience life. They show you how to approach every challenge, every thought, and every emotion with wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness. By practicing these teachings, you will slowly but surely begin to notice changes in your outlook, your responses to life's struggles, and most importantly, your inner peace. Let's take a moment to reflect on the key lessons we've covered. Remember, the root of negativity often lies in our attachment to things, our desires, and our judgments. But the Buddhist teachings remind us that everything is impermanent. That means nothing, Not even our thoughts and emotions last forever. When we accept this truth, we begin to understand that the negative feelings we experience today are just passing clouds in the sky of our mind. They will move on, and so will we. This simple yet profound idea of impermanence can completely change the way you view negative emotions. Instead of clinging to them or allowing them to define you, you learn to let them come and go. When we practice mindfulness, we can observe these emotions without getting attached to them. Mindfulness isn't about controlling your thoughts. It's about observing them with non-judgmental awareness. In doing so, you create a space between your thoughts and your reactions, allowing yourself to choose a more peaceful response. Next, we explored how compassion and loving kindness can clear our minds of negativity. When we open our hearts to others and ourselves, we begin to heal. Negativity often arises from feelings of fear, anger, or frustration, but these emotions are dissolved by the simple acts of kindness and compassion. Practicing compassion isn't just about being kind to others. It's about being kind to yourself, too. Self-compassion is a vital part of healing the mind, as it helps you overcome feelings of guilt, shame, and self-doubt. Meditation is another powerful tool that we discussed. Through meditation, we can calm the busy, cluttered mind and reconnect with our true nature. The more we meditate, the more we allow our inner peace to grow. When you sit in silence and focus on your breath, you're not just resting your mind, you're training it. You're teaching yourself to be present, to be aware, and to be free from the endless chatter that often fills your head. With consistent practice, meditation becomes a sanctuary you can return to at any time, a place where negativity can be left at the door. Another important concept we explored was detachment. This doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world or becoming indifferent to life's joys. No, detachment is about understanding that everything in life is temporary. By not clinging to things, whether they are possessions, relationships, or even ideas, you free yourself from the suffering that attachment brings. Detachment allows you to enjoy life without the constant fear of losing what you love. It brings peace, because you stop relying on external things to validate your happiness. Karma, too, plays a significant role in shaping our mindset. Our actions, words, and thoughts create ripples in the world. The good we do returns to us, just as the negative actions we take have their consequences. But remember, karma isn't about punishment. It's about cause and effect. When we choose positive, mindful actions, we plant seeds of peace and happiness, not only for ourselves but for those around us. And then there's the middle way, a balanced approach to life that avoids extremes. Buddhism teaches that the best way to live is not by indulging in excess or denying yourself the things you enjoy, but by finding a path of moderation. This balance is crucial because it helps you stay grounded, even in the face of difficulties. It's about embracing life as it is, without constantly striving for more or running from discomfort. When you find the middle path, you allow yourself to experience life fully, with all its ups and downs, without losing your sense of peace. Throughout this journey, we've shared Buddhist stories and teachings that illustrate the power of wisdom and mindfulness in everyday life. These stories show us that it's possible to overcome even the most challenging situations with patience and a clear mind. And through these teachings, we see that there is no need to fight with our negative emotions. Instead, we learn to observe them, understand them, and let them go. Finally, we've provided you with practical tips to help transform your mindset every day. From simple meditation techniques to practicing gratitude and self-compassion, these are the tools that you can use in your daily life to keep negativity at bay. But remember, the key to transformation is practice. Just like building any new habit, it takes time. So be patient with yourself and don't give up. As you continue this journey, know that it's normal to face challenges. The road to a positive mindset isn't always easy, but with the wisdom of Buddhism, you have a map to guide you. Trust in the process, and remember that every small step you take brings you closer to the peace you seek. So, as we wrap up this video, I want to leave you with one final thought. You have the power to shape your mind. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you create. The more you practice these teachings, the more you will see that negativity is not a permanent part of you. It's just a passing phase. And just like the sky clears after a storm, your mind will clear, too. Thank you for joining me on this journey to a more peaceful, positive mindset. Keep practicing, keep learning, and always remember, you are the master of your mind. Stay committed to your path, and you will see the results in your life. And if you found value in this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. We have many more insights and wisdom to share with you on this channel. Until next time, may your mind be clear, your heart be kind, and your life be filled with peace.